My 25 female mother, 60 female, and her boyfriend, 60 male, had a house in Ottawa, which was a nice home. She's always hated a home for reasons I think could have easily been renovated, like new shower tiles, new doors, or adding basic finishes to the basement. It was a new build at a time, 2017. I, as well as the mortgage advisor, advised against it, given that the new home she wanted went for $820,000 and she still had quite a lot left on her mortgage. In the end, the bank pre-approved her and her boyfriend for $500,000 with the knowledge that the rest of the fees will be covered using the profit from her old home. Fast forward to now, she keeps asking me to come on as a third person. Given that with my good job and with a salary of over $65,000, the pre-approval amount will be higher. The issue is, I am now married, and my husband and I are also saving up to buy a home in the next few years. She dismissed it and said doing this with her will build my credit. And when I'm ready to buy a home, the bank will approve me and she will definitely co-sign with us. Is this a thing? Because she went and told her mortgage advisor that I'm interested, but I don't think she gave her the details. Not only that, I'm pregnant and will be going on maternity leave, which means that it's not the time to think about things like this, because I will technically be on employment insurance, which is exactly why my husband and I are waiting until I get back to work, and he gains more seniority in his work. I'm at a loss in what to do because my mom has screwed me over for small amounts of money, so that alone I don't trust her. But it's the fact she's already telling the mortgage advisor I want in, and she's disregarding the fact that I'm married with her own grandkid on the way. However, she did state doing this will build my credit, and it will be easier to qualify for a new mortgage down the line with my husband. Now for the top advice before reading the update. No, the bank will see you as having a massive liability. This will make it much harder, as in the eyes of the bank, you will already be on the hook for a mortgage. You'd also lose your first-time home buyer's land transfer tax rebate too. Parents of my friends tried to do that with their son at 18, buy a house in his name essentially to save the tax. Luckily, he knew about it and said, hell no. Who the heck are those pathetic excuses for a parent? How freaking low must you be to feel okay about screwing over your own child? They rationalize it somehow. People are very good at that. The mortgage you are on will have to be included in your debt ratios when applying for your own mortgage. Having an existing mortgage included in your debts will make it very, very difficult to obtain your own mortgage. Absolutely do not do this. It will make it harder for you to get a mortgage later, as it will be considered your debt. You will be responsible for the mortgage if she doesn't pay it. When you go to get your own mortgage, her co-signing will be useless because she will also already have a mortgage which will be considered. She needs to buy something within her means. If she is relying on your income to be approved for a higher amount, it is not within her means. My father's brother John got divorced some years ago because his relationship with his wife Kate became toxic. He had to give up his living house as alimony to her, and both his kids, 19 and 17, refused to remain in contact with him because Kate told them to choose any one of their parents. So he started living with my parents and we both had formed a very good bond. A few weeks ago, he died due to heart attack. When we met with his lawyer Larry, we got to know that he had hidden a lot of his financial stuff from his ex-wife. He told us that divorce as well as alimony was mutually decided between John and his ex-wife, so he didn't have to disclose his properties in court. We got to know that he miraculously acquired 3 houses after his divorce, out of which he passed 2 to me and 1 to my sister. He listed my dad as beneficiary on his insurance and passed 2 bank accounts to his sons and 1 account to Kate. Larry also told me that I inherited some stocks. He asked me would I like to share those stocks to my cousin, to which I refused. Now I am being confronted by Kate that John defrauded her and their sons, and she's telling me that she will sue him. Larry told her that he will then file a counter case for defamation against her, and listed that she has no claims to support her statements and wished her best of luck for suing a dead person. My parents are feeling guilty for my cousins, and they want to split our inheritance with them, which I don't want to because this money will make our future secure, and I know how much John was upset with his sons. If he wanted them to get anything, he would have listed it in his will. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Don't go against your dead uncle's wishes. Obviously, he felt strongly about his own kids disowning him, and now they're just concerned that they were left out of his fortunes after he's gone. Your cousins sound like crappy people. Yep, they chose badly the money stakes. And don't give them a single thing, even an apology. A lawyer can use that against you and help invalidate the will. It unravels fast when it all gets going. Hold tight and keep your mouth and wallet shut. Actually, according to OP, his uncle left each of his sons and ex-wife one of his bank accounts apiece. Since the divorce was final before his death, and a property settlement had been approved by the court and executed, his ex would apparently not have a legal leg to stand on. OP, you're not a hoe. Keep what you inherited with a clear conscience. If your parents want to give a portion of their inheritance to your cousins, nothing is stopping them from doing so. Not a hoe. Your uncle provided for his sons and his ex-wife in his will. He also made a conscious decision to provide for you and other members of your family. That was your uncle's choice. It is his right to decide how his estate is divided. You're not obligated to share your portion with anyone just because they're upset that they didn't get everything. Not to mention, if how Opie described the divorce is accurate, the aunt doesn't have a leg to stand on. She agreed on what she got in alimony and child support, and didn't require all assets being shown in the court. Not stay home. He wanted you to have them and not his sons. You don't have to share anything with those who cut him off for really no reason at all. They did get bank accounts, so they did get something. Follow what your uncle wanted. I, 31 female, recently lost my fiancé, 37 male, Jake. We've been together for 6 years, and his death was unexpected and I'm still mourning. At a funeral, which I arranged and paid for, his brother, 32 male, Jim, asked me when I'm going to return the engagement ring to the family. For context, the engagement ring with which Jake proposed is an ancient family heirloom. It's a gorgeous ring, but what makes it priceless is the story behind it. Jake got the ring from his grandma a month after we started dating, as he claimed he knew back then he would marry me someday and wanted to get his grandma's blessings on the ring. When he proposed, his grandma already passed away, so having the blessings put on the ring made it extra special for the both of us. I asked Jim if he's serious, to which he said yes. Apparently, his long-term girlfriend Stacy saw the ring a while ago and fell in love with it and the story behind it, so she kept nagging him to get her something similar, which he couldn't. He figured since I can no longer marry Jake, he can propose to Stacy with it. I told him that he is rude, that the ring was blessed especially for Jake and I in mind. And even if that wasn't the case, bringing it up during Jake's funeral is incredibly disrespectful. After the funeral, I got a message from Stacy saying it would mean the world for her to be the new owner of the ring, and I could always think of her and Jim's wedding as the bittersweet ending to my relationship. She said the ring was blessed, so one of the grandsons can marry the love of his life. And since Jim is the only living grandson left, he has a claim to it. I just blocked her. My ex-mother-in-law also reached out to me and said that although she understands my pain, I can't keep the ring since it's a family heirloom, so I should suck it up and give it to Jim. I snapped and told her no. The ring is staying with me and following me to the grave if need be. It's a beautiful symbol of Jake's love, and I won't let Jim and Stacy sully the memory of him. The ring is legally mine, so all they can do is cry about it and be bitter. They keep harassing me on social media saying I'm a bad person, and that I stole the family heirloom to spite Jim and Stacy out of jealousy, but I ignore them. Today I met up with my brother and he said that although Jim's approach was highly inappropriate, I'm being selfish for keeping the ring as a keepsake. I could always wear different jewelry that Jake bought me in his memory, but they could never replace an heirloom that's been in their family for generations. I'm now back home and I can't stop thinking about it. Up until this point, I was sure I did everything right, but maybe I'm just being blinded by my grief. A friend suggested I ask for an objective opinion and recommend this place. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the little update. Since you paid for the funeral and they didn't, offer to sell them the ring back for the cost of the funeral. If you're not family entitled to keep the heirloom in their opinion, you shouldn't have had to pay for the funeral expenses. The brother was an a-hole to ask for it at the funeral. Otherwise, keep it. Not stay home. Exactly my thoughts as well. They didn't chip in a cent, it seems, for the death of their son or brother. You were family enough to pay for the funeral. You were family enough to have grandmother's blessing. You were family enough to your partner. The ring is yours, OP. The memory is yours. Gift it to someone whose love you want to bless, if you so choose. Otherwise, do what makes you happy, not a-hole. This is exactly how I feel about it. It's not like OP just showed up. They'd been together for 6 years, and the owner of the ring gave it for her. The brother approached her at the funeral that OP arranged and paid for and asked for the ring. That was horrifically inappropriate and cold-hearted. So, in the middle of the funeral, I feel like I can't stress this enough, the brother demanded the ring back, and now over however many days or weeks of grieving, several people are harassing OP for this ring. The ring given to her by her fiancé, that again was given by her grandmother. Not a-hole OP. Please just block them all. What kills me is the fact his girlfriend says to see them marry as a bittersweet ending to her relationship. If I was in her shoes and with how they approached, I understand wanting a family heirloom back. But they didn't help with the funeral. It was all being extremely insensitive towards her losing someone she loves. I wouldn't want to do them any favors either. Not sure if it'd be grief, spite, or right on my end, but they certainly could have handled that a lot better. Not stay home. They don't want it back because it's a family heirloom. They want it back because Stacy is shallow and Jim can't spend the money. If he could buy the same ring, they wouldn't care, but are using the family BS to manipulate you. Tacky and disgusting. I can't possibly imagine asking someone who lost their husband for the engagement ring back. Me, female 34, and my husband, Hunter, male 37, suffered from fertility problems. We recently decided to get a surrogate who's a friend of a friend. We were busy getting everything done legally, and we already had a contract in place. My egg was used, so no worries in this regard. Plus, our surrogate is a respectful, kind woman who's been keeping her part of the contract intact. But it's Hunter who's starting to act strange. I've noticed that he's been focusing all his attention on our surrogate, like skipping work to visit her or get her things she didn't ask for, chat with her all the time on social media, and also constantly offering to do things for her, like drive her places, and sometimes even invite her out or offer to repair stuff for her. She complained to me about this, and even told me about things he's been doing that I didn't even know about, like bringing her gifts. I tried speaking to him about what this looks like, but he said that he's doing what he's doing for his son and not her. Still, I asked that he tone it down and respect the woman's space. He got mad at me and accused me of being jealous of the woman who's carrying my own child and said that this makes me look bad. I said our surrogate was the one who complained about his behavior, and he said that this wasn't true. Apparently, this made him somewhat angry, so I gave him time to cool down a bit. Yesterday, our surrogate called me saying that Hunter came over and told her guests to leave. I asked why, and she said that he wanted to show her the $9,000 car he bought for her. I was shocked. She said she declined the car and asked him to leave, but he started arguing with her about using public transportation and risking our baby's well-being. I was fuming. I called him demanding to get home, and he did eventually. Once he got back, I picked up a fight with him and yelled at him saying that he's been nothing but overstepping, disrespectful and inappropriate towards our surrogate. Again, he explained that the car wasn't for her but to ensure that the baby's safe. I told him to stop disrespecting the woman and stop using the baby as an excuse to stomp all over her boundaries. He ranted about how he was just trying to make this work and that I should do the same if not more. He even accused me of not loving our son as much as he does. But this isn't the way. And putting $9,000 for a car without telling me? He left the house for a while, then came back and refused to speak to me. I might have been hard on him. He might have just been oblivious. So I'm less sure seeing his reaction now. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. This is upsetting behavior. It's one of two things. 1, he has a crush on her, or 2, he thinks he has a right to police pregnant women's bodies. It's inappropriate regardless. You should quietly assist her in getting an attorney to draft a cease and desist letter to him. You may or may not get the baby, but frankly, I'm not sure your marriage, specifically just your husband and his odd behavior, none of your doing, is in a place to need a baby right now. Eileen is the second. He wants to completely control this woman because he is the father of the baby. And he will control every move OP makes when the child is born and in their care. Can't drive in a car, too dangerous. Feed it this, not that. Can't go there, can't do that. Not stay home. Reading that creeped me out on a deep level. He sounds like a stalker that's obsessed. Does he not realize that stressing her out by being intense and domineering could harm the baby? He needs help and possibly a restraining order. Agreed. It gave me the creeps. A 37-year-old that can't understand how he isn't respecting another person's boundaries is a red flag. Not stay home. He's actually endangering the successful arrival of your son because he's not only causing stress to your surrogate, he's also making her so uncomfortable that she might seek legal recourse to break the contract. Maybe schedule a formal meeting with lawyers and her surrogate so she can express her needs officially? That might be a way for your husband to actually see the severity of his behavior. I feel for the horrible position Opie's in, but I have to mention here that it'd be pretty freaking monstrous of her if she in a way tried to prevent her surrogates breaking the contract, should she, very rationally, decide to. Imagine being in a position where you are legally bound to carry your stalker's fetus to term. I'd terminate it by whatever means necessary.